I want to go ahead and try to finish this. I'm going to show this one more time so you know where I'm coming from. This is the third tape. This is my father, King Edward VIII, and these are mind control murders. That was Timothy McVeigh, and here it says that William, who is illegal, by the way, has a chip in him. Um, and I want to show again the double that married Wallace Simpson. My father was married to Claudia Ruth O'Keefe, Georgia O'Keefe's sister. You never heard of my mother. I have to say Georgia O'Keefe for people to know who I'm talking about. This is my uncle, the illegal George VI. How sorry can you get when you join ranks with the Kennedy father, Joseph, and the brothers? JFK was flying into the embassy helping his father. And his father helped Roosevelt and my uncle kidnap me and the Rockefellers and Rothschilds and all the New World Order, or the Freemasons. And that's the real Edward VIII. And I think I showed you the imposter. I do that so you know where I'm coming from, some kind of frame of reference. And I wrote about mind control murders in 77, 78, and this happened after I came here. It's been ongoing. They've been done in patterns. It's the agency that's done it, and they deliberately put them in patterns, or else how would you tell? Mind control is invisible. But this was Larry Flint endorsement and Hustler of April of 84. And the man that shot him in Lawrenceville was programmed to shoot him. I was flown out up for political support in 83. So I wanted to get on to, I'd started talking about they had blocked me. I have a immune disorder. And they have used my illness, my immune, when I get around chemicals, if I should, let me rephrase that, I should still be able to go most any place and live. They've deliberately come in, and yes they have, with management and maintenance and whoever, and they've soaked me. And I can remember being taken, I was legal. I was up there to try to breathe fresh air and have a place to be. It was on Roanoke Mountain. It's the National Park Service. And I was legal, had a legal campsite and everything, but they were, which is illegal to burn formaldehyde. And they were doing that. And I was told by a man that, it's my understanding, he was FBI, and he was up there, and he was host. And he didn't like what was happening to me. However, he didn't, well, anyway, I'm going to leave it at that. Prior to that, the year before that, I'm going back to the year before, when I was up there, it was a state trooper, and Carl Barton and his wife. He's a retired Virginia state trooper. They brought me down to, or she did, because somebody had poured fuel. I'm talking about fuel on my camp in the middle of the night, and there was just a few people up there, by the way. So it makes you wonder, in all this that law enforcement's involved in, who really told them to do it or did it themselves. So in the middle of the night, I'm out. I have to sit at the picnic table. I'm so sick. So she brings me down to Affordable Corporate Suites, which I had stayed at one of their places. It's Jewish-owned, and they have a whole bunch of them over the state. And I had stayed at one of his before, and I had some trouble with the same thing. This has been ongoing, and I'll preface this with this. When his wife, Carl Barton's wife, Virginia State Trooper, retired, when she brought me to the corporate suites off Starkey Road, by the way, this gets into a name game, so Starkey Road is like Ringo Starr. His real name is Starkey, Ringo Starkey. You get into, like, this is sad to say, when I worked for the district attorney in 80, Fred Simpson in Huntsville, Alabama, Madison County DA, is when they kill John Lennon. John Lennon's British. I'm working for Fred Simpson. It's like clues to my identity. And Mark David Chapman shot John Lennon. Mark is the name of my son that, and I used his. I wrote a little bit about him and my son Mark in my book that never got published. But anyway, Mark David Chapman shot John Lennon. David is my father's name. King Edward VIII. They called him David, and Chapman, it has the C, which is the third letter of the alphabet, and it's the name that my sons have to use. I married a Childers. So, and then I'm living at Warren House. Warren Commission is who covered up the Kennedy killing, and the mind control was used in that. But the Kennedys, JFK, his father, was ambassador to England during all this time of the takedown of my father. So Warren House was symbolic of the Kennedy and my kidnapping and their involvement in the cover-up, and I'm working for Fred Simpson and the DA. The next job I have is for Doyle Duke, and as in the Duke of Windsor was supposed to have abdicated and married Simpson, which was a total lie. He was married to my mom, Claudia O'Keefe, sister to Georgia O'Keefe from Madison, Wisconsin. Okay, now I'm going to skip over here because I could do another tape and it won't get on here. It's kind of like if it ever works for me, if I live through it. I'm 75. But they've used my illness, which is immune disorder, if I get around chemicals. And they have really deliberately exposed them, come into my home, housekeeping come in, and right in my face spray my bed, and I'd be rolling in the linen at night or trying to wash it if I had money. It's like I couldn't leave my room anymore, and who do you go to tell it? I can't get an attorney. The law is involved in it. It's shocking what people will do. Really, if this is ever told, it is more than shocking when they don't have to pay for their crime. I mean, they beat up on me. You talk about bullies. I'm one human being, and as a gang, this country has deliberately, cold-bloodedly just killed me in every form and way there is. But this is Edinburgh, and I was taken by there by the homeless assistants. Makes it sound like they're doing me a favor till you get behind the scene. Homeless assistance is funded. You get into the input of the federal government and funds that they're getting. So the agency's carrying this out. I'm talking about the mind control murders and what's being done to me, and I'll reference you back to Robert, who was with the Marshal Service on the other tape that's helping to soak my tents, and he would end up with brand new tents of mine because they'd soaked them, and I'd be homeless and locked up, and yeah, it all happened. It's still happening. But anyway, I'm just going to go to Edinburgh Square. Went in there, and Jennifer, by the way, was the new manager, and she just had a baby. So you get into people will do anything to save their job if they fear repercussions. Well, this is her job. Her job wasn't to help poison my air and all this. But anyway, I stayed there 6 months. I told about this in a prior tape. Palmer was the maintenance, and he actually had this beautiful, gorgeous home out by the trail where he watched me over the years walk up the trail starving and freezing in the sun and everything else. So now that I have to leave because they've made me so sick I can't stay. I'm talking about sick. And they all knew what was going on. You won't get one word of this from them if you do a background check. They're not going to tell what they did to me. It looks like I just got up and left and broke a lease, according to them. This is where I had to go back to them. 1014. That's pretty bad when you have to go back to someone and it's low income to begin with, who I am, that I'm having to resort to that. But then they've joined a conspiracy in soaking me in chemicals It's taking out my immune system, kidneys, liver,